What's going on, guys? Philip at Trade Genius. I hope you guys are having an awesome week. Since Bitcoin is pushing up into breakout levels, it's time to visit the quarterly chart, and we're going to discuss the price levels and what this all means here. I'll break it down for you, and we'll see what's ahead here for Bitcoin going into this fourth quarter, into the new year. So let's dive into this video.
Trade Genius.
Guys, real quick on Bitcoin, looks really strong, as you can see, with the fulcrum indicator giving us nice entries on the 30-minute chart for a quick swing trade. If you're interested in this fulcrum indicator, you can head over to tradegenius.co. We've got specials running for the next couple days. With the specials package, just look for the fulcrum indicator in those packages, and those are annual packages. I think you'll find that indicator extremely helpful in helping you to identify where to buy in on a trend and when not to. Okay, guys, so here is the Bitcoin chart. This is a quarterly chart, and basically what happens on our Bitcoin cycles is we come up on a Bitcoin peak, usually after a halving, and then we pull back. And it's pretty clear on the quarterly because you have a quarterly close and then it opens and pulls back. So that happened back in 2011, back here, again in 2013, closes, pulls back, again in end of 2017, closes, pulls back. So that's a very telltale sign of essentially the level that Bitcoin won't see a close over until the next bull cycle begins. So back in the 2011 peak, when we were at 30 some odd dollars, believe it or not, that cycle lasted 7 bars, and then we had our breakout. So 7 quarters, and then we had a breakout, and that was a 7,000% gain to the next peak. We can do that same measurement over here from the after the first halving, and then our breakout bar was 12 bars later. And so if we take that and do the same measurement here, 12 bars is our current quarter here. Okay, so it would be very, very similar to the last cycle. One more quarter would be a 13. So this is right on cue. Coming up to this level is right on cue for what we've come to expect. And the reason why these cycles are pretty consistent is just because of the halving. Halving being disinflationary really helps keep the models, I think, pretty reliable as opposed to other commodities as far as modeling goes. There's a lot of debate on whether things like stock to flow are really going to work or if it's just coincidence. But as you see, we'll look at the cycle chart. I mean, things are just right on schedule right now. Even though we had a hiccup with COVID and things like that, you'll find that we're kind of back to the mean of where we should be in the cycle. So the key number here is going to be about 13,900. All right. If we get a monthly or a quarterly close above 13,900, you can kiss sub 10,000 levels goodbye for good, most likely. Now, if we go to a monthly chart, you'll see what month that broke out. So this month, January was the month that left behind the quarterly level of $16. Never saw that again. Coming over to here, December was the month that we broke out the $740 level. Never saw that ever again. And so it remains to be seen if we get that breakout. Now we are due this quarter, so could be November or December, or maybe we get an early one. But once typically you get a monthly close over this level in this quarter, that's usually going to tell you that the rest of the quarter is going to be above that level and off to the races. So I think that's going to be a pretty reliable strategy as we get toward and above the 13,900 level, which we could not do on that last run up in 2019 when we ran up. Remember, the Chinese Ponzi ran everything up, and then we had this flash crash here basically on the quarterly or on the monthly candles. That was COVID, okay, V recovery in the economy. And now more recently, and we'll cover this in the next video, Bitcoin is starting to decouple from the markets, which it has not been the case. It's pretty much, you could overlay both Bitcoin and the stock market, S&P 500, and they've pretty well been coupled together as far as the moves go. Different percentages, but same moves. So, showing you here also too the relative gains from each one of these setups. So the first one was a 7,000% gain, and then we had a 2,600, almost 2,700% gain here. I'm drawing this trend like this because it's one way to model a rise on a logarithmic chart is a flattening curve. So if that plays out and you hold this curve, which a lot of times price will do on a longer term chart, we'd be looking at a peak of around $70,000. Still not chump change, but lower than what people may expect. And we would expect that probably sometime toward the end of 2021. So it should be a very, very exciting and bullish 2021 for not only Bitcoin, but for also altcoins, which we'll cover in a subsequent video. If not, and we go to the cycle repeat chart and take a look at that. So you'll notice that if we model the cycle from where we peaked out December 23rd, 2017, and we go and look at where we are now, I mean, you can see we've basically caught back up. There was this Chinese Ponzi that drove up the price of Bitcoin real quick. That pulled back and corrected. Then we had the dump all the way down to, 4,000 and change, right, with the COVID dump. And then we recovered, and now we've this green line is where we should be, how price should be rising in this current cycle based on previous halving cycles. Okay, that's all it is. And as you can see, we've come back now again to the median price. So anytime we're under this green line is basically, you got to look at that as Bitcoin trading at a discount. And now it's caught back up. And what's interesting about this model is it's actually showing us that we would be spiking into December, fourth quarter, with somewhere around 18,100. I mean, that's completely doable. Bitcoin is fully capable of a run like that up and then a sharp correction. And that would, I mean, this price model here would not surprise me in the least bit if this is what we saw. Big run up to that level, sharp correction, because that's just the way Bitcoin is. It corrects sharply on these types of moves, backfills that, and then we continue higher. Okay. Ultimately, as price continues and keeps up with this model price, we would see a total projected all-time high of $309,108. So pretty staggering, but you also have to understand that we're kind of getting out of the early adopter phase now, going into the mainstream phase. There's a lot of news with companies putting their long-term assets into Bitcoin. So you're seeing a lot of smart money now going into Bitcoin long-term. And I think just with all of money printing by the central banks worldwide, I think this is just a big hedge against inflation, and people see that it serves that purpose very well as a gold 2.0 store of value type of thing. Very finite, can't be counterfeited, etc. So easy cross-border payments. So this is going to be a pretty exciting year for you guys that have been with us for a while, hodling along. I think this is where you're going to see a lot of what you expected to get out of Bitcoin come to fruition over the next 12 to 18 months with this cycle starting to ramp up and head into a post-halving peak. Okay, so pretty exciting stuff. Again, we'll monitor this as we go along and see how we compare to the expected price and also the 200-day moving average. At this point, anything below the 200-period moving average is just an automatic buy because of the way that this cycle works. Just keep that in mind. So guys, that's it for this video. Just wanted to show you guys the quarterly level breakout, 13,000. So yeah, 13,900 approximately will be that price level. Monthly close above that historically has closed the door on anything below that. Yes, we still have that gap below at 9,600 or so. Could that clean up before this happens? It certainly could. Certainly could get a big pullback, maybe even on election night. There's sometimes some wild moves in that regard. You just never know. But once this monthly close happens, you really want to be buying the dips pretty aggressively at that point going forward. Okay. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Trade Genius.